Live from the studios of News Talk Radio 580 CFRA, downtown in the heart of the Byward Market. Welcome to Sunday Night. Here's Rabbi Bulka.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our program. As you know, in the first component of our programs, going all the way up to the culmination of the United Way campaign, we are doing United Way stuff. And tonight it's a great pleasure to welcome the co-leader of LiveWorkPlay, Keenan Wellar. Keenan, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So, LiveWorkPlay, that sounds like something we'd all like to do.
Well, that's kind of the idea, actually. It's trying to support people with intellectual disabilities who sometimes they don't get to do what we all like to do. So we're trying to help make that happen.
So, live and play don't seem to be the problem. It's the work that's the problem. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's issues in all areas. There's issues around housing. There's issues with socialization in the community. Right. But definitely work sandwiched there in the middle. Often if you have a job, issues about housing and issues about having friends go away or they get reduced. So
tell us how bad it is in Ottawa. Apparently we're not doing that well compared with other cities with similar situations. Is that correct?
That is correct. Only about 43% of people with disabilities participate in the labor market in Ottawa. That's more than 15% lower than the rest of the country. And in fact, the particular population we support, it's much worse. It's about 75% unemployment. So wow. It's a lot of work to do.
What type of disabilities are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about intellectual disabilities or developmental disabilities in the case of Live, Work, Play, and then the other statistics about the 43%, that would be for every type of disability.
Right, such as, for example, if one is in a wheelchair or something like that?
That would be more in the general group, and then for us it would be, for example, a person who has Down syndrome.
Right. So in other cities in Canada, from what if we're 43 and they're lower and we're lower by 17%, right. It means that in other places 60% are employed.
Actually, yes, it'd be that's correct.
Right.
They're doing a bit better than us.
Do you have any clue as to how we fell down on a job on this one?
Well, I think part of it is many cities have a focus where they've identified the issue, and I think that is something that, to their credit, the United Way has been very specific in identifying this issue and working with agencies like ourselves and others, and to say this is a problem and let's get focused on our strategy and fix this.
Right. This is not something that came overnight. United Way has been working on this for a long time.
Right. Well, I think arriving at this as a particular area of focus has probably been a process over almost a decade, and now that we're there, it's exciting to see some of the results starting to show already.
So now clue us in. So your Live, Work, Play is supported by United Way. That's correct?
We are. That's represents about 5% of our overall funding. But in the area of supporting people to gain employment, it's basically doubled our capacity in that area. So it's been very important to us.
So clue us in on how many people you have, let's say, under your program.
Sure. Well, we're supporting about 70 people, and most are over the age of 20. We support a few that are just in the latter years of high school. Right. But our key focus is on people who are making that transition. They've come out of high school, and now what's lying ahead for the rest of my life, and working with them and their families. And, of course, employment is on the top of most lists.
Right, because they have to be able to put bread on the table. There's also the whole question of when you look in the mirror and you know that you're earning something, you feel a heck of a lot better about yourself than if you're just taking.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole question of identity, most people at some point in their life, they experience some kind of transition in employment. And, it's very uncomfortable when you're not easily answering that question of what do you do? And we all have different words. Well, I'm in between jobs. There's all these different expressions. Well, it's very tough. People we support, coming out of high school and not having a lot of post-secondary options, and so they're trying to make their way in the world in the labor market, and it isn't easy, but we're having some great advances in the last couple of years.
So in Live, Work, Play, is one of the things you do you actually actively try to find them jobs, or how exactly does that work?
Exactly. I think the best way to describe it is to be a bridge, because, of course, we can't create the job. That's the employer.
Right.
So a big part of what we do is connecting with employers and asking, have you thought of this population as an opportunity to meet your employment needs? And often they haven't, and they're very receptive when you explain the successes and the support that we provide. And then, of course, it's knowing the individuals on our end and saying what would be a good fit for you as a job and as an employer, and putting both parties together and then supporting both of them through, especially in the early weeks and months, developing the relationship going forward.
And on the website, there's a very moving story about a young girl by the name of Melissa, who found a job in one of the gourmet bistros in Ottawa and feels great about it, and they feel great about her.
Oh, the Works Gourmet Burger Bistro is.
Right.
We have people working in their various locations across the city, and just an excellent employer who has basically said our workforce should reflect the diversity of the community in which we're located. And they have figured out, well, that includes people with intellectual disabilities. And we have a wonderful partnership with them. And Melissa is a great story, and it's totally genuine. It's a great job for her, and she is a great employee for that employer.
And I imagine that matchmaking like this gives you lots of personal fulfillment, too.
Well, some of the work we do, it takes years, and it's hard to define people's progress, because it's about their life. But there's something quite simple and beautiful about, this is my first paycheck. And there's something about that expression on that person's face that you just don't forget. And I can easily run through in my head a little slideshow of people holding up their first paycheck, and it is a wonderful thing. In
a very large sense, it's like life-saving.
Yeah, life-changing for sure.
Life-changing, and, for them to say, I have a purpose, it may not by some other people's standards be lofty, but for them it means everything.
And exactly, and you never know. We have an individual, for example, that's working full-time in a legal department, out at MBNA Bank. So you just never know where these career paths are going to lead, and we're really excited to see people going into some roles that maybe not traditionally thought of for this population, right. But you have to give people the chance.
Well, we're grateful for what you're doing, and we thank you, and we hope that you're going to reach, I know you have targets for what you want to achieve, and I hope that you exceed them.
Well, thank you. I sure hope so.
And good luck to you.
Thanks for telling the story.
All the best.
Okay.
Thank you. That was Keenan Wellar.